Yeah, it's going now.
Yeah.
lọ́jọ́kọ́jọ́ làbẹ̀wò kúkú dùkú lóko podium international wọ́n ti wà tipẹ́tipẹ́ látìgbà tí wọ́n ti ń bàbọ̀ wọn ò fìgbà kan tẹ́rì o wọ́n ti wá ṣe bẹ̀bẹ̀ wọ́n ti gbé bẹ̀bẹ̀ dé podium cinema ni wọ́n tún gbé dé podium cinema lórí youtube ẹ fọ́lọ̀ wọn kẹ́ ẹ láìkì wọn kẹ́ ẹ subscribe ibẹ̀ lẹ́tì mọ̀ wọ àwọn àjá àbálẹ̀ fíìmù ẹ̀dọ̀kí fíìmù tó léfo gan tààrà podium cinema mo bẹ́rí fún yín fíìmù mẹ́sàn-án ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ ni wọ́n kó jáde o àwọn gbàǹkangbé fíìmù èkíní májẹ̀mú ẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ̀kejì my word ẹ̀kẹta ọmọ ẹni ẹ̀kẹrin àlàmú èkó ẹ̀karùn-ún àìmọ̀ ṣẹ̀wárí pé nǹkan kì í ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ràgbó ó kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀ eléyìí lẹ́ti kẹjù èdè yorùbá ni wọ́n fi ṣe àwọn fíìmù yìí ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹfà sẹ́ẹ̀kẹsàn-án èdè òyìnbó ni wọ́n kọ́ ẹ̀kẹfà tẹ́mà èkeje the casting ẹ̀kẹjọ m1 the detective ẹ̀kẹsàn-án 100 m1 the detective at 100 orí síríìsì lẹ́fì máa wò ó ìyẹn dàgbéléwò nìyẹn podium international podium cinema ẹ fọ́lọ̀ wọn kẹ́ ẹ láìkì wọn lórí youtube wọ́n wà lórí facebook wọ́n wà lórí instagram podium cinema ó ti dọbẹ̀ ẹ subscribe.
Good day, viewers. Welcome to our program today. I'm going to be the host for today. I remain myself, Kayode Mola, and today we have veterans in the house. We've got Banji Ayiloge and Sir Alex Oluwole Ajala, who are going to be helping us dissect the current global crisis, economic crisis that the world is experiencing, vis-a-vis how it affects Nigeria and especially Yoruba. And we'll also be looking at the insecurity in Nigeria as well. So I will just call our first guest, Banji Ayiloge, to greet our viewers.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm glad to be here. And I've just said that I'm meeting Mr. Oluwole Ajala for the first time. I've watched him in several shows. And I'm looking forward to actually contributing my own little quota as we go on. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to invite Sir Ajala to also greet our viewers.
Good afternoon to everybody listening to us. I'm very happy to be on this panel today because I'm meeting a very respectable gentleman in the name of Sir Iloge. I've heard about him. I'm listening to him, but he doesn't know I have. I'm so much happy and honored to be on the same panel with him. I hope we are going to be able to do justice to what we are about to discuss today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So maybe if we just look at this video, it's going to help us dissect what we have to discuss today.
Did you know there's a 15-minute strategy helping creators like you generate up to 50 tips each day? Keep watching to find out how.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring Baba floor. We just saw Pakistan, Sri Lanka, pardon me, now, who ultimately they're witnessing a crisis they've never seen in their life. And this is stem from the several decades of taking Chinese loan. And now they've defaulted in their loan and they cannot keep up. And we've seen several global issues. Now, what's your take on the situation vis-a-vis Yoruba land?
Oh, you want me to, Mr. Jalato, go first?
Okay, yeah, maybe you
No,
can have.
I would prefer my gentleman
Anyway,
to start. I give you the honor, sir, because the
all right.
last time I listened to you with rapt attention, and I asked them
Please.
to give me your
We are
number
here.
so I can speak to you. But
Don't
it was not
worry, we are
possible.
here
I
to
was
do justice.
denied the opportunity of connecting with you directly. Now we're on the
Who
same platform.
denied you? I'm always very open.
Yeah, no, but the people who brought you on that program, I asked them, please let me speak to this man because I have, you see, a mind to connect because man so pay every Yoruba person in your minimum, and I'm also in your one. We cannot
Of
deny
course.
ourselves. So it's very important that I want to hear you first, sir, because there are things we need to talk about.
Thank you, Mr. Jala.
Yes, sir.
I did not repeat that I hold you in very high esteem. I started, looking at these programs, and I started asking them, "Who is this? Who is this Oluwole Ajala?" And then it's, "Oh yeah, it's with us." And they actually told me you'll be coming today, and I said it would be a honor to meet you.
Thank you.
However, let's go straight to what we are about to say. Now, the question is juxtapose Sri Lanka and then with the Yoruba situation. Uh, I'm trying to see how I can do that cleverly because Sri Lanka is an example of I think there's a noise, background noise coming up. I can hear it. Where is it coming
Yeah,
from?
there's a.
Yes, please. Now, what I'm saying is that Sri Lanka is a nation on its own now, and it has taken some bad decisions in the past. Some of the things we are witnessing in Nigeria now, you know, I mean, Sri Lanka was at the stage that Nigeria is right now, in the sense that when people say, "Well, we are providing infrastructure," our this thing is to provide infrastructure. This is what the Buhari administration has been saying. But when you look at it, they borrow deeply from China and everywhere, and they said they are providing infrastructure, and the infrastructure, according to them, is improve the economy later. Infrastructure, the kind of infrastructure they give in the country, it's like social services. It's not connected to any economic program that can pay back, that can pay back the loan. Let me put it, in a way that our viewers can actually understand. When you borrow money personally, let's look at personal finance, for instance. If you borrow money to buy new pair of suits, shoes, and also to go on vacation, and say you will pay back later. this kind of loan will be hard for an individual to pay back because it's not connected to anything that can generate any income. Individuals should borrow money, invest, you borrow money to buy homes that you can rent and get, and get some, some rent to pay the loan. You can invest in business or in businesses, hoping to get from your profit to pay. But when you spend money, for instance, on some of the things that Nigeria claimed to be, Sri Lanka spent money on, they are not directly generating income. Let's take, for instance, we are saying, well, let's have rail. The monorail sent from Lagos all the way to Abuja to Kaduna. We've had monorail all along. The rail that are actually out there now, anywhere in the world, are the sort that can travel from Lagos to Kaduna within 2-3 hours, or within the short span of 2 hours, or even less than 2 hours. But we investing on the rail, on the monorail that is actually a replica of what we were using more than 50 years ago. And you expect that to generate income, to pay the loan. The same thing, the same bad choices were made in Sri Lanka.
In Sri Lanka.
Yeah, the same the same bad choices were made, and now it's payback time, and they are unable to pay. And you have the economic crisis that is also leading to chaos on the street. People need to eat, people need to do so many things, and they are unable to do it because of the economy. The economy has been battered down, just like Nigeria. I'm not sure if Nigeria is not in that state yet. The reason I'm saying that is that why others have a propensity to go out and demand for their rights and justice, most Nigerians will just shrug it off and suffer in silence. But I don't know how long that our people will be able to take it without going on the street. So let me pause at that general summary.
We will come to that. We will come to that with regards to people going on the streets. Let me just ask Baba Jala. We've seen what Sri Lanka is gone through, like our daddy have just explained, and we'll come to the issue of when it boils and people get to the street, because what Sri Lanka is going through is what has led to revolution in so many lands. Now, the question is, Nigeria is on a borrowing spree. We're borrowing 2 times more than the annual revenue for the state. What's your take? When is it, with regards the financial state of Nigeria as it is now and the economic hardship people are going through?
Well, it's sad that we have to look at what I would call the gradual process of trying to bury a dead horse. Why do I say that? Nigeria has lost its pie in terms of decision making for development. What we have now to sustain their presence, they want to be seen to be doing something by borrowing from China to do things. The question I always ask myself, I was looking at this same situation as per what is the effect on Africa. Almost every African country has become red in terms of it is China controlled. The question again I ask, Did the Chinese go to the Americans and the British to develop all we see? 30 years ago, they were riding bicycles when we were riding automobiles, high-grade cars, Mercedes-Benz cars. And Rolls Royce, they were riding bicycles. What did they do? Education. I have to go back to that to be able to make my point about what ought to be in Nigeria and why we should be scared. We should be scared that we are going down the drain. We are going to a pit. If not very soon, if we don't decide a process whereby everybody is going to be responsible for his own area. It is very important. These people sat down. If some of us remember, I grew up to be seeing some equipment made in China, screwdriver, that when you use one day, it is spoiled. They were in the process of making things to be better. Those days, you buy at China for me, don't buy the Chinese screwdriver, but it is the most available. And when you use it for one day, it is gone. Gradually, they made better ones. The same thing with Japan. They made white drills and clothes for trousers, which when you sew it, we call it Obeda wool, because it's not the same quality like the one you buy from England or America. What were they doing? They were training their youths to partake in their economic development for the future. Now, science and technology, innovation, every day is happening in those countries. We started on a high plate, particularly Western region. We had all this type of things. In Ijebu, some of our young men and women in the 50s were already making glass chairs and tables of the highest quality that were sold in Europe or in England. We had an Ekpebotia that employed our people. Any country that depends on loans, unbridled loans to develop, kills its own economy, kills its own value in terms of their currency. It falls. Like today, I think.
I'm going to pause you there and bring Baba Ilobe on.
My thesis is this: that the loan that they are taking in Nigeria is not even geared towards development. It is not. When you borrow from China and you give it to Chinese firm to actually build an airport for you, the development. And then the plane coming there, everything that you can think of within our country now, even toothpicks are brought from abroad. And these things keep foreign youths employed. They are employed, they are gainfully employed. Our youth are roaming the streets restless. Look, I will look at the situation where if we are going to borrow anything at all, we can start from where China started. We start having all these little factories where we can make some of these little equipments that we can use in creating. You make all these little equipments, like you can use, like you said, screwdrivers and all that. You start from there so that whoever wants to engage in any productive sector will have implement to start. That's where China started. And it doesn't have to be exported. We were making fun of Hyundai and when they started coming to the US. It was one of the cheapest cars you can get, but it was breaking down. The same thing with the Indian-made cars and all that. India actually shut down, not even shut down. If you were buying a Toyota Corolla in India in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you probably pay more than 3 times what it costs outside India. There was really a lot of duties, almost 300% duties were imposed. So many people didn't have imported cars and vehicles. People use the old rickety ones. They keep doing it. But today, India is an exporter of automobiles. But in our own situation, the point is that we so much distraught ourselves, we distraught, dealing with ourselves to the extent that even the automobile factory in the eastern part of Nigeria, in southeastern part of Nigeria, is not being patronized by anybody in government.
I'll just
Why?
stop you there. I'll play a video for us to see.
Just woke up this morning really overwhelmed, and I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but being an average middle class Nigerian is so hard. It's so exhausting. It's a pain. Everything in this part of the world is exhausting. Everything in this part of the world is unnecessarily hard. The system is just built to frustrate the average Nigerian, and it doesn't make any sense. It's so exhausting. I would give anything to be anywhere but Nigeria. I don't even blame people that go to places like, they even go to Ghana for greener pastures. People, it's sad and funny at the same time. People were legit marching to the embassy a few weeks ago that they want to fight for Ukraine because they said, hey, it's a great opportunity to go to another man's land at least and die. It's better than my father's land. And you just sit here and you wonder, what are we doing to make things different? What are we doing to make things better? Absolutely nothing. We sit here and ignore our problems and act like they don't exist. Barely 2 days ago, if I'm getting the numbers right, 917 passengers were hijacked in a train. And just yesterday, a match was held. And y'all thought you would win? Ignoring your problems and focusing all your energy on a, sorry to say, stupid match. I'm so happy that Nigeria lost, but at the same time, it still doesn't.
I'm going to invite Baba Jala, and then hopefully he can help us with this. Now, we know what we can do. Set up factories, set up these. But an average Nigerian today wants to run out of the country because there's no future for the youth. There are no jobs. There are no way. People come back to invest, and the exchange rate is going high. How can we get to that point where we say, let's hold the bull by the horn and actually start fixing the problems before we get to the state of Sri Lanka?
Yeah, I chuckle. The problem is it's an old problem. The young lady who was lamenting, he said homeland. Those who do understand don't know, we realize that we really don't have a country yet. And that's why those who taking care of it make up a lot of mess, prevent development. I just talked about electricity in the last program. It's the basis for development. A young boy who wants to carve something to sell, and he has some tools, and he plugs his tools to an electric point, he will do what? those Chinese have done. I remember 1964 because sometimes to be able to explain today, you have to go back to history. Machine tool industry was set up in Ojobo. I was one of those little boys in secondary school saying, when we have power tools, we'll be able to create something. Because I was very innovative in things. I was already making chemicals on my own in a little laboratory in our secondary school. I was happy. By 1965, I'll be in the final year. Then I'll be able to buy some tools and set up. I don't want to work in the ministry. That was my vision, and that I'll be able to continue to increase the economy of my country. But I would say to myself, wait, economy of my country, what country? Is it a country where we do not understand ourselves? And some people decide to subtly destroy other parts. Western region was subtly, they started subtly destroying Western region in 1959. But we closed our eyes to it. We are getting our independence. Things were getting out. The railway system was used freely by people from the north. That's true. So those of us who were, those of our seniors, our elders who were elderly enough and they say they are going on first class train to Jos, first class train to this. By the night time, you find these people crawling into your train. You see, it's an irredeemable place that we don't realize it. We are going down the drain, that country, because there's no focus to development. Like you said, if you are borrowing money from China, what was it for? At some time, our head of state told the World Bank that if you are sending any money to Nigeria, send it for the development of the Northeast. What about the rest of the country? See, it happens. You see, it is sad that we are not waking up to the reality that we can. Our young men and women, highly trained, don't get any job. And in the process, the university system now is turning out half-baked graduates. That is a fact. If you listen to some of them comment, you say, did this one go to, then I say again, well, it's a Yoruba person. The foundation is that he did not learn Yoruba in the school before learning English. That is very important. I'm partially fluent now because I'm using the sense of Yoruba to express myself in English. Because when we started primary school education, we learned Yoruba. In the secondary school, it was compulsory subject, even if you are not going to take it for you, this up to Form 4. Even if you are not going to register for WAEC, you learned Yoruba.
I'm just gonna. You mentioned something about taking loans, and I'm going to invite Baba Iloge to help us expound on that. We have seen that last year, last 2 years, last 3 years, Nigeria embarked on two things because of the pandemic. They started printing money and taking loans to pay salaries. We were already even taking loans to develop or build infrastructure or things. And today, ASU is on strike. The police, we are threatening the other day to go on strike. And several other agencies, even New Peng and whatever, because of hike in petrol prices, are thinking of going on strike. What is ahead for the average Nigerian, and what should they focus on? Is it rebuilding Nigeria or coming back to think and say, let every region go and decide what they want now for themselves?
Look, we are not likely to develop together. You see, I have said this several times in every places that are, in any of the places that I've been to, that I've told them that the problem we have is not so much of that we are willing to develop. No, it's not. We are not, because we have ceded the control of the country to some people with the mindset of, the 16th century. If your mindset is, for instance, it is only in Nigeria that you have some people, the so-called federal government actually fighting to have some people to follow animals right from Sokoto all the way to Lagos on foot. And they are trying to, bring out legislations to legalize this, to make this permanent, rather than looking at a situation where they can develop and say, like, instead of walking all the way from the north to the south with your cattle, why don't you have them into, or even kill them and put them in a refrigerated truck and drive it to Lagos within a day or two? There are so many other things that is wrong with the system. The danger in Nigeria and how we got here is that we all look at ourselves differently. Somebody say, well, look, the elites, they don't look at themselves. Either you are Igbo, Hausa, Fulani, or that there, you can still steal and be friendly to each other. Yeah, but what gets you there?
If I may pause that, sir, are we really friendly to each other?
Excuse me?
Are we really friendly to each other? Are we
If we are
really?
preaching to each other?
No, Baba Jala is asking if we are really friendly to each
To
other
each other.
in Nigeria.
No. What I'm saying is that I've had some people say, well, tribalism is not the problem here because you see all the people who are actually benefiting, the politicians, they can relate to each other. When Ajala is having the giving his daughter to some other influential, I will be there. So, and Musa will be there, Shukuma will be there, and they are looking at that as a kind of unity in the top 1%, but it's not actually unity. What gets you to play is not so much of this, and it's just to say, well, I'm a Yoruba man. You can be taken as a token to join the group, the few groups out there, at least to give a semblance of national character. And so those people who were handpicked will play ball, so to speak, with the rest of them in looting the system, in looting, the treasury. So it's not so much, we all know that we are here as people go there as representatives of their different ethnic groups. Not that whatever they take is going to be brought back and redistributed. No, they will use that. So we are still conscious of that, but let's leave that alone.
Yeah. So let me
What is
bring Baba
happening
Jala.
to us? What is happening to us is this. Because of the crisis, and I've always said this, that there is a crisis of nationality. The crisis of nationality is that the Fulanis are there, the Hausas are there, the Igbos are there, the Yorubas are there, Efik and all that. Everybody is trying to outdo the others.
So I'm going to bring Baba Jala. He needs to answer this question. Mandy is asking, following what our daddy Ayiloge has said, that we got a problem of nationality and it's impeding development. Mandy is asking, what can an average Nigerian youth do now to give them hope? Or is it completely a hopeless situation? Because it's okay for us to have forums and say, okay, yeah, we'll build 20 dams to generate electricity. We'll do this. But when we keep borrowing money to pay salaries and even the development is not there, and China is now saying, hey, hang on, there's no more money for you this year. Don't look for anything because you're not going to get it. What can an average Nigerian youth do? We saw the young lady there saying she would rather be anywhere than Nigeria. And that is the mind of an average Nigerian. And when they get wherever they go, some of them in circumstances that are difficult for them, they become double trapped. What can an average Nigerian do, Baba Jala?
The average Nigerian, there's no average Nigerian. They're either Nigerians or not. The point, you see.
Or we say average youth.
No average youth. A youth is a youth. A Nigerian is a Nigerian. You see, these are the problem of usage of words which we fall trap of. Like people saying that words on democracy or federalism, true federalism. There is no true federalism in politics. Federalism is federalism. It is your operation of it. So, Mandy, my take on that is that the average Nigerian youth, in your quote, which I said there is no average Nigerian, every youth in Nigeria should realize that they should have an identity. Who am I? The friend I'm talking to, if I'm a Yoruba man, and the other one is an Igbo man, is he really genuine to me? Is he open to me? If I don't speak English language, can you understand me? Or I was in the 50th year anniversary of the Nigerian state, not nation. I was with a young Yoruba boy from Oshobo who were speaking our language about the problems we had. Then there was these two young Hausa boys. They were speaking their language. My young Yoruba boy turned to them, "Oh, don't be annoyed though that we are speaking our language. I hope it doesn't offend you." I said to myself, have you lost your identity? They are speaking their language. Did they turn to us to apologize? Why are you making yourself a slave? First and foremost, every youth should define who and where he comes from. There's so much of a deceit that is happening. Oh, Ojomba Chukushe, get to Chuku's village. They will look at you with. There are certain horrible stories I've heard about the connectivity of that kind of association. When you go to other parts of the country, which particularly a Yoruba young man going to visit his in-laws in the east was almost killed and eaten. These are not stories, they are events that happened. A few of them, if you notice, when they are married outside their area, they hardly go home because they know the problem that they are going to face. That apart, the truth is that Nigeria is not a nation. It is the Yoruba race that promoted it to become a nation. We are the ones who have been carrying the burden of Nigeria since 1906 to be a nation. We were.
I find it hard to talk because everything I've talked about, I'm hearing it from Mr. Jalat. That's because we carry the burden of the country. A Yoruba man will say, well, we are so many, the country, we like the population. What is the population? We have 60 million Yorubas.
Yeah. So talking about Yoruba carrying Nigeria and promoting Nigeria rather than Yoruba, we now see that the economic situation feeds very much into the security situation, which is what we're going to look at now. I'm just going to play this video for us. And
I think Nigerians at this moment should be allowed to also take arms. Nigerians must be allowed to take arms in defense of their innocent souls, defend their hard-earned resources and property. Because it's like a monumental failure. If the agencies of security have failed, then Nigerians should not be failed. Nigerians should not be seen as a failure. Let Nigerians organize themselves in the name of civil defense. Civil defense. Let them organize and raise defense for their own souls, innocent souls. Because if the responsibility of the government and the security agencies cannot be carried out democratically, then let's go to jungle. Everyone has cause to defend himself.
Yeah, if I might take him on that. You see, there's this another word that I always find very ridiculous. Who are Nigerians? I would rather say the people in Nigeria. You see, identity is very important in the world.
I was going to
let me go for that. The people who find themselves in Nigeria should take arms to defend themselves, because some of these same people find themselves in Benin or even in Niger because they are not specific Nigerians. And that is the major problem we are facing. We are not looking at the reality. When the Yoruba educated elites from Habamankole, Shapara Williams warned the Yoruba race that we should not be part of Nigeria, that it's going to bring back the development of Yoruba race by 200 years, and if not more.
We have succeeded in doing that, Mr. Jela. We have brought down the Yoruba civilization.
I was doing an analysis on Clubhouse on Thursday, and
we've done what I'm trying to say. I'm seconding what Mr. Jalad said, that we've actually brought down Yoruba civilization from the apogee all the way to the abyss. We've had an abysmal fall.
So to put it in perspective, I did a program on Clubhouse based on the amalgamation documents. And we saw that as a clerk in 1914, the average salary of a clerk then was £300. If you multiply it by what £1 is in today, £1 in 1914 would have been amounting to about £122 in today's money. So if you multiply it, that gives us £36,600. That's what a clerk was earning. And that's what they could have been earning today. But look at the Nigeria minimum wage, 30,000, which is 600,000 naira. If you multiply it, that gives us £400 per annum, which is what they were earning in 1914, which shows that we've gone back rather than go forward. And that is what is causing a lot of hardship, difficulty for millions and millions of people.
Listen to me. Let me stop you right there. Go and say what you are saying now to civil servants in Ondo State who had just been paid their maybe November salary. This is April. They haven't even started. Look, there are certain things that we talk about sometimes that, to me, I feel like shouting from wherever I am to let you know that it's almost irrelevant. They've just been paid their either October or November salary. In which case they haven't been working. I mean, they haven't been earning their pay for the entire year up to now. And then it is only semantics to say, oh, they will have been in 1939, they were supposed to be earning that. What relief? Even the little they are supposed to be getting, they're not getting it on a timely basis. Now, what I'm saying is that we have waited in our side of the country and we have ceded the control of our destiny and placing we've ceded it to foreigners. Those who came and have a feudal system
They have seized on that and impoverished the whole country. And now we cannot even eat conveniently in our this. It's not like we are not saying something that we are not saying, oh, well, when you look at what they are earning today, compare. No, that's not our problem. Our problem now is that we have allowed the Yoruba civilization to fall, to have an abysmal fall, and how we can get ourselves out of this rut. Look at the kid that was crying, for instance.
Yeah,
The
if I may
solution she
add
was
what you
offering,
just said,
the solution she was listen, the solution she was offering.
But Baba Jala, we saw that young lady.
yeah,
I'm going to play this video.
if I may
and
add
this
to
is,
it,
I was
before you
going
come
to
on,
talk
Baba
about
Jala,
what she said.
yeah, this is the train track that was destroyed in Abuja, between Kaduna and Abuja. And we are looking at security situation.
first of all,
And then we're going to watch this one as well. So this is inside the train being destroyed, which was what that 970 people on that train. Now, this is a country where we've got a government, and up till now, nobody has resigned, nobody has said anything, and nobody is being fired. So because that we saw that rep member saying Nigeria should take arms. It's not the duty of the civilians to take arms. That's why we have the security personnel. We've got enough police, we've got soldiers, we've got civil defense, we've got several security personnel. People need to start taking responsibility. So what's your take on it, sir?
First of all, he was right because the Nigerian state had disintegrated. You are saying we have security personnel who can easily turn their way. In fact, from way back, I remember there was a day in where I was staying, a group of armed robbers came around. That was in Ososani in Ibadan. And then they tried to take over the street. My landlord's window was close to me. I was calling the police. The police were asking my landlord to bring a car to come and take the police. Why the armed robbers have blocked the place? How do you see? And Nigeria has disintegrated. What has been keeping Nigeria alive, which I always say, is like Otiku is dead. And we've been trying, we've not found a place to bury it, and we've been trying to bury it. We left it in Yinyi, and then every time we go and top up the Yinyi, even when the electricity goes and it's smelling, then we put on more Yinyi, and we are waiting for the final day that we are going to call for the dissolution of the place. That's the stage at which we are. Let me tell you one thing. We are in denial of that country. The country does not belong to us. It was created as a trading post, a marketplace. It was us Yorubas who took off our so-called Eureka moment of brilliance, starting to talk about Nigerian nationalism, starting from my elderly man who passed, who got sick in Kaduna on the 6th of May, 1946, and died on the 9th of May in Lagos. That's Abat Macaulay. This is not the time to hide names or facts. We have to talk the truth to ourselves. If we really want to demortgage ourselves from Nigeria, we mortgage our future into a Nigeria we did not create in the first place. And that is why we are experiencing all these things. That's what I wanted to add to your talk.
I think, Mr. Ajala,
yes, sir.
I think I see some problem with this, what we are doing here today.
why the moderator wants us to think about the current occurrence. You and I know that we got to this point because of of what had happened in the past. That's
And
why
it's
we
still
seem
happening, yes.
right. That's why we are having a kind of disconnect. He wants us to talk about train. We didn't get here just like that. We didn't.
No.
Something happened.
Yeah.
And you and I, because of generational difference from the moderator, we see things from the past leading here. But the demonstrator is asking us to talk about a trade. Even the guy who was talking about picking up arms and defending ourselves. Do you really need to tell somebody who is under siege or who
To
is
take
being
up arms.
to let it take permission from a lawless government to before you take or protect
You see me
yourself?
dead.
You don't need to. You don't.
No.
My position is that you don't need to do that. You don't need anybody's permission, because look at what they are suffering in the Middle Belt. The Middle
It's
Belt have
horrible.
been they've been killed every day, and the leading lights from that area. I will name names. Danjuman, the Danjuman is richer than most people because he's sitting on almost three oil wells.
No, let me the
Yeah.
size 3,000 square mile of 3,000 square mile of oil block.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, instead of the last time he spoke, Danjuma said the Yoruba had lost their voices because they are no longer talking about the plight of people in his region that are being killed. And we are saying, and look at Danjuma's antecedent. If you are going to kill Hiroshi, what did Fajuyi do to what did
warrant
he
being
do?
killed.
Why was he killed? He's a Yoruba man. We've left these people to walk over us. All the Ademule Guns and all those, these people, the first coup, the second coup, Yorubas were killed. Nobody acknowledged all these things. It's only the Fulani got down together, they were killed. What was Akintola's, was Akintola not a Yoruba man? Why was he killed? We've sacrificed a lot for the country. In the armed forces, we were killed in this thing, and the result of the killing of 1966 is what we are looking at today.
Not only
They've
that,
taken
if I
power.
will add to it, sir,
Yes.
it's a lot to what you just said. 1953, when Akintola went to the north to campaign for the so-called independence we are having, he was not allowed to leave Kano Airport. He was sent back.
Right.
The following
Yes.
day, every person from the south was killed. Unfortunately, most of them were Igbos and
Right.
Yorubas. We've been killed right
Is
from
it in the
beginning
south
of-
or in the north?
in the north.
Yeah, because you said south. That's why I said to clarify.
Every
Right.
person from the south in
Oh,
the
okay.
north was
Right.
killed.
So
That was seen in the
these-
streets.
there is no talking about contemporary Nigeria without referring to how we got here. That's the point I was just trying to make.
Exactly.
you
You
know,
are right.
with
sir.
right with the moderator, because
Yeah.
you can
So-
see that.
If
Yeah,
I will-
I
I-
understand.
No,
I
I'm not
understand the
blaming
problem
you.
we're
I'm not
facing.
blaming you. I'm just
Yeah.
letting you
I
know.
understand the problem we're facing. I'm
Right.
just wanting to bring it home. So,
yeah, I want to
Anaja,
talk on
I'm gonna-
that situation in the railway and so on. Funny enough, I've traveled many places, unfortunately, I have to say, and I've seen railways done in different countries. The railway that I just saw now, forget about the coach. That line is a substandard type of line. They don't use metal for sleepers anymore.
That's what I was saying.
I saw you saw that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't use that. We have enough cement to make solid railway sleepers and attached to it. Look at the warped up metal that is used as the sleepers, the cross lines, and even the gaps between the sleeper and the next one. It's not the standard. It's not international. It's not accepted anywhere in the world. Even small countries of the world will not build that kind of railway.
So is it time to start think, because you've made mention of there's no Nigeria. It's just the Yorubas forcing Nigeria, making Nigeria great. Is it time for the Yorubas to start thinking, look,
For themselves.
the insecurity in Nigeria is not going to go away? Because Mandy asked, what can the average Nigerian do? Is it saying
the Nigerians? When you say average Nigerians, are you talking of Igbo, Fulani, and that?
Yes. So I want to say, what I want to say is, what can the Yorubas begin to do now in the face of all this that is happening? Saying Nigeria is not going to work. We're either going to get to the state of Sri Lanka if we continue in this present trajectory, or we can hold a pause, rethink our future, and fight towards that. If you want to go, Baba Jala.
My take all along from a long time when I was young is telling whoever wants to hear that I would prefer a Yoruba sovereign state, because even before the white man came, we've already been developing. There was an interruption of development by slavery, and then we settled down to start to develop. And you find that there have been educational institutions that copied Western education ever before Nigeria was ever created. They existed. Our people were all over the world. Some of our people were friends of the royal family in Britain here, the Labolo Davis, the Sarah Bonetta, I know Omoba Bado, and many others. So we have been developed. So if the crisis after the Crimean War and the loss of the French, that's not this present one, the 1800s thing I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And the French saw that they were defeated and they wanted to create a new image for themselves. They ran to West Africa. And before then, they had taken over most of North Africa. The British said, okay, we leave North Africa for you. And they came back and occupied, if you look at the map, almost all the land of West Africa was occupied by the French. Before they started, they said French West Africa. You look at the old maps. Before they started breaking it up into smaller countries, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Dahomey, Niger. Niger is the upburst of Nigeria. That I will tell you, it was after the diplomatic battle between the British and the French that the French actually owned Sokoto and Kishi and Igboho area in their construction, and the British actually owned Port Novo and Cotonou. So they did a sort of exchange diplomatically before they arrived at this construction that made up Nigeria. So they took the British took the wetter part of Nigeria, and the French took the drier part of Nigeria, which is today called Niger. So there are actually two Nigerians in West Africa. That's one thing most of people don't realize. There are two Nigerians in West Africa.
Two Nigerians.
Nigeria.
Yeah, we're going to be wrapping up. I'm just going to invite.
So what I want to say finally is that the Yoruba people should realize that ẹrù ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tó ti gbé láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ kán sọ̀ kalẹ̀ kán padà sílé wọn ó tó gẹ́. We should realize that we are better off to develop on our own. We had, like I said earlier, we had industries growing up in every part. Even Ijero Ekiti was supposed to be the center for the development of rural electricity distribution. That was a wise thing Awolowo did. When the federal government said they must be in charge of electricity provision, then they brought up a little advice. Okay, what of the rural areas? Rural electricity
project.
My Baba Dilore, I hope you remember that.
Oh yes, I'm enjoying your steak, and
You
I see
see,
the
these are the things we should
narrator is doing
remind
this.
ourselves. For us to be free, we should know the history of our
Yeah,
past. Because
one
there's
of
no
the good
nation in the world that can
one of
be.
the good one of the good things about some of these programs is that it allows us to
Go back
actually
in time.
go back in time and just oppose that with the current thing, and then try to explain it to our younger ones that
Yeah.
look, we didn't find ourselves in this situation, not even by accident. Now we are realizing that while we were trying to modernize the whole country, the whole Nigeria, some people were trying to perfect their domination on the whole country.
Hmm.
And in order to do that, they have been replicating their own feudal system, and they wanted to go around to the only way they can do that is to destroy the economy of the country, and they have done that. So much so that right now you now find from Sokoto to Lagos, you have the same poverty you have in the 60s and 70s and even to part of 80s. We used to laugh when we hear that they are distributing money to voters in the north, or and the emir comes out to say this is the people you should vote for. We laugh in the west that, I mean, how is that possible? Nobody could have said that.
Yeah,
Even
that's true.
Awolowo that we now talking about today, he had to earn his popularity in the West. He didn't have automatic followership. He earned it up till 1962, when the votes were being divided in Yoruba land between the NCNC and the Action Group. But we now have people from Sokoto to Aroshuku to Lagos now. Once you give them $500, I mean, I said dollars, 500 nairas, they are ready to vote for you. In
The
fact,
other day it was even 400 naira.
right now they won't even vote if you don't have the 500 naira. So they have pulverized the whole nation. And I was going to refer quickly to what the young lady was saying, that the prescription that she gave, that is, she would rather be in another country
Than being in Nigeria.
than being in Nigeria, is the wrong prescription. People, why go and die in the desert in India? I mean, in Libya, or trying to drown in the ocean somewhere, trying to cross to Europe, when you can actually fight for something in your own country?
Hmm.
Most of the places you go into didn't get to what they are today because people left the place. No, our youth need to know that they need to educate themselves and come out. Somebody say, "Oh, they will just be killed." Okay, you will be killed. You will even die of hunger. You will die of joblessness. You will die of diseases. You will die of kidnapping. I mean,
Come
people
on.
will kidnap you. So, what is the point? You're gonna die anyway. So, make a difference. When I
Thank
say
you.
this, right?
Yeah.
When I
Thank
say
you.
this, people say, "Oh, maybe it's because because you are not there." I say, "Listen, you forget that." I had to remind a friend of mine yesterday that for the last 32 years, I've devoted my life to activism about Nigeria. If I had devoted that to politics in where I am, I will at least get something out of it. However, at a point after the anti-military thing. I packed my load. I resigned from government job. I went to Nigeria for 11 years. I was there trying to make a difference. So sometimes I remind people that, look, some of us are so passionate about some of these things that we should not be looked at as if we want personal aggrandizement from it. No. Otherwise, my salary, by the time I resigned and left for Nigeria, I don't think I could make it in Nigeria when you translate it into, but I left that to go venture that maybe Nigeria
Can make a
has
difference.
something they can learn. But when I got to Nigeria, it was the rudest shock of my life where the people say, well, as if it is the position
that matters
bring,
rather than the service that they need to give.
rather than service. It is people. I was just like, are you real? And people wanted to take my money. They want me to give them money before I get
before they will give you the position. I understand your feeling.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
I don't see myself
Well, I was in that situation, but I ran off.
Yeah, I'm telling you, we'll probably come back to this topic again.
We will come back to that, but it is, to me, it is you see, when you have the time we left Nigeria frozen somewhere in your brain,
yeah,
there's a tendency for you to be thinking of the Nigeria you left, and so many people are making that mistakes.
Exactly.
You have people making their money and sending it to Nigeria to an uncle to build a house that they can retire to.
Well, I tell people that's not a wise investment. You can
let me tell you something. When things were still a little bit okay, between 1971 to 75, if you sent money to your uncle to build a house for you, they would do it. But after that time, because structurally I've been studying the movement of the degradation of our society, particularly Nigeria and the rest of Africa.
Yes,
started changing, and there was no reason for most of those in leadership to think that the little child today born is an important element into their development, and that is why we don't have free health and free education, which I will always get to. I thank Awolowo for giving me that. That's why, and that type of education, which I said earlier, was rooted in Yoruba language. English was just learned along the lines, one of the subjects.
Right.
So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Maybe Baba Iloge can give us his parting words for today.
What parting word? Look, we are
just halfway through.
I don't really know I don't know what I can say except that there is a crisis. There is this crisis of nationality that I keep talking about. That there is no way. If you look at it, and let me quickly walk this in. In 1980, Olusola Saraki was the Senate leader. Then it was the majority leader.
That would be 2018, not 1980.
No. I said Olusola Saraki, not Bukola Saraki.
Okay.
You only know that's Bukola's father.
Yeah.
So we had a run-in at the airport, and he said, "Oh, we can." I think it was either 79 or 80, and he said, "All I know is that the unity of the country has been preserved." And I said, "What unity?" I challenged him, and I said, "What unity are you talking about?" I said, "Oh, if Awolowo had been declared the winner in 1979, there won't be a Nigeria." I said, "Look, you people are deceiving yourself." He was the Senate leader. And I said, "Look, unity of the country that you keep talking about. What is unity to somebody who is on the street and is trying to make out a living? What is the unity of the country to millions of people who are suffering? That was 1980 or 7980.
Yeah, I
It wasn't
remember.
like 7980 Nigeria that I was talking about the suffering of the people to the Senate leader. The Senate leader then was Olushola Saraki, not Bukola Saraki.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe
Yeah, I know the father.
right. Bukola probably was in primary school or secondary school when I was talking to his father. So, what is the unity of the country? I ask him. The unity cannot be legislated. You cannot. How are you working for the unity
Towards
of
the
the
unity.
country? The economy
Unity
is going
is
to the
it's
drains.
not a verbal thing.
Right,
Yeah.
and all that. And when he looked at me, he said that you are a UPN agent. That's what, and I, we disagreed vehemently. And some of our friends and I said, okay, leave him.
We will
But
probably
then,
come to that, because in those days you are UPN agent. Today they will tell you are Fulani agent.
Right now, let me anchor that. We still talking. Some of these people are still talking about the unity of the country 42 years after that.
With
60-something years after independence,
to even try and
they
build
still talking.
unity.
And when they want to milk you, like they said, they talk about the unity of the country. What unity are you talking about? I have no problem with an Igbo man. I have no problem with even with a Fulani man. In the 60s, 70s, in Lagos, they all interact because you can wake up and go to your job. An Igbo man wakes up and go to the wharf or go anywhere you go to. Now, it's even becoming more and more pronounced because of the dwindling opportunity for every person
Nigeria.
that is within the space of Nigeria.
And the poverty index, people trapped in poverty continue to increase every day. Just last week, the World Bank has released another report: 95.2 million Nigerians living below poverty line. Thank you very much, Baba Ayiloge. I'll just invite Baba Jala to give us his parting words.
Well, my parting word is that we should all be prepared for the eventual collapse and the ceremony, the funeral ceremony, because this is the truth. We are not, and that is why I'm warning all Yorubas not to be part of that death. To find themselves, to understand that they need themselves more than they need Nigeria. It is not, that is the truth. And we can collectively, with all our nuances and differences, we still understand ourselves. We can use that as a template, a weapon to synthesize using the word first time. I don't usually use that word. To bring to our senses the fact that when we are together, setting up the different institutions of development, infrastructures. It reminds me, Balewa was supposed to have started the railway from Ibadan to Enugu to via Ilesha, Ilesha, Ifanlaye or what, and all that. I have the book on it from the 1950s. It was not supposed to be a book I should see because I was still in primary school, but I saw it because, our education then was total. And that railway was supposed to get to Mafe on the borders of Cameroon. Rather, he built the one from Kaduna, Jos, Bauchi to Maiduguri. And if I'll tell you the truth about that railway line, it's supposed to be extended by the north to Khartoum in Sudan so that they can join the railway to the railway from Cairo. Thereby, they'll be exporting their goods through that route. It's published It's an addition to what Balewa refused to do in the South, to even the publication on December 30, 1964, before the war, about their intention to abandon us.
And to bring development in the North. And that's what's still happening today. Thank you very
1964. And I asked some elders who are still alive, they said, we saw this, but we ignored it. What's happening now?
It's unfortunate. We'll leave it there and then hopefully visit it another time. I'm just going to thank the viewers for listening to us and our two veterans. This is not the end. I'm very certain they will be here again to help us dilute what is happening in our nation, and especially how we can sensitize our Yoruba people to understand that there is no average Nigerian. It's a coinage from the Nigerian state to think, oh, there are average Nigerians, and that it is better to begin to think about yourself. Who am I? Who do I want to be? And what will I leave for my children when I am long gone? Until we come your way again next time, remain blessed and God bless you.
lọ́jọ́kọ́jọ́ làbẹ̀wò ìkúkú dùkú lóko podium international wọ́n ti wà tipẹ́tipẹ́ látìgbà tí wọ́n ti ń bàbọ̀ wọn ò fìgbà kan tẹ́rì o wọ́n ti wá ṣe bẹ̀bẹ̀ wọ́n ti gbé bẹ̀bẹ̀ dé podium cinema ni wọ́n tún gbé dé podium cinema lórí YouTube ẹ fọ́lọ̀ wọn kẹ́ ẹ láìkì wọn kẹ́ ẹ subscribe ibẹ̀ lẹ́tì mọ̀ wọ àwọn àjá àbálẹ̀ fíìmù ẹ̀dọ̀kí fíìmù tó léfo gan tààrà podium cinema mo bẹ́rí fún yín fíìmù mẹ́sàn-án ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ ni wọ́n kó jáde o àwọn gbàǹkọ́gbé fíìmù èkíní májẹ̀mú ẹ̀gbọ́n èkejì my wet ẹ̀kẹta ọmọ ẹni ẹ̀kẹrin àlàmú èkó ẹ̀karùn-ún àìmọ̀ ṣẹ̀wárí pé nǹkan kì í ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ràgó ó kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀ eléyìí lẹ́ti kẹjù èdè Yorùbá ni wọ́n fi ṣe àwọn fíìmù yìí ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹfà sẹ́ẹ̀kẹsàn-án èdè òyìnbó ni wọ́n kọ́ ẹ̀kẹfà tẹ́mà èkeje the casting ẹ̀kẹjọ M1 the detective ẹ̀kẹsàn 100 M1 the detective at 100 orí síríìsì lẹ́fì máa wò ó ìyẹn dàgbéléwò nìyẹn podium international podium cinema ẹ fọ́lọ̀ wọn kẹ́ ẹ láìkì wọn lórí YouTube wọ́n wà lórí Facebook.